Okay, well, welcome back to the NASCAR Pinty Series Fictional season. This is the fourth event. We've had three events. Unfortunately, GP3R recording did not go down. LP Dumoulin was the winner of that event. We're here at Sunset Speedway, but obviously, Sunset Speedway, a great racetrack. We have to make some decisions here. There is going to be a Hooligan Race, and of course, if you don't know what Hooligan is, basically an LCQ. 14 drivers will try and make their way into the main event, the 125 lapper. This will also lock them into the second Sunset Speedway race of the doubleheader. So obviously this is a big challenge for some of the drivers that are not able to make it. There's 4 spots that they're able to get. Now, the drivers that are locked in, the 20 that are locked into the race, are the drivers that were the fastest in qualifying. So that's why there's some names here that are not able to make it into the main event. Also, if they have not made a start this year, they are also subject to being in the LCQ if not fast enough. Here today, we have a couple of surprise names that you haven't seen so far in this season. So let's get going here. With our Hooligan Race, the field is set. But it's not going to be the 125 laps at all. It is not a 75, not a 63. It is a 50 lapper here at Sunset Speedway. So not a lot of time to get it done. The ratings are up. The strength is up too, which means we could see some contact here. What we're going to do is skip straight into the race. No qualifying that we're going to highlight here. But let's take a look at your entry list. Making their starts here today, Trevor Culver in the number 1. Inventory Express machine for White Motorsports, TJ Bertamato in the number 2 for White Motorsports. Holdaway Motorsports, Connor James in the number 5. Ray Morneau Jr. in the 03. Michael Herniak Jr. in the 15, Kevin Trevelyan in the number 19, Marley Owen in the 21, Kyle Steckley in the number 24, Chantel Kalika in the number 43, Todd Shepard in the 55, Malcolm Strawn in the 56, Brent Weller in the 61, Garrett Tiemersma in the 67, and Carson Nagy in the 93. So let's take a look at the qualifying results. Starting at the back, TJ Bertamato. 13th will be Brent Weller. Chantel Kalika in 12th. Ray Morneau Jr. 11th. Trevor Culver in 10th. Malcolm Strawn in 9th. Marley Owen 8th. 7th for Carson Nagy. 6th for Todd Shepard. Teammate Michael Herniak Jr. is 5th. Garrett Tiemersma 4th. Connor James 3rd. Kevin Trevelyan sits on the outside of the front row. Kyle Steckley in the number 24 is going to start from pole here at Sunset Speedway. 50 laps to qualify. Top 4 make it in. And the rest, the other 10, go home. Unfortunately, that is what's going to happen here. So we take a look. There's our 14 here at Sunset Speedway. Kyle Steckley trying to make his... I believe it might be his first start of the season here.
Drivers, start your engines!
We are ready to go from Sunset Speedway. Kyle Steckley, Kevin Trevelyan, Connor James, Garrett Tiemersma, Michael Herniak Jr., Todd Shepard, Carson Nagy, Marley Owen, Trevor Culver. Field getting all stacked up as we get ready to go here. The Toys R Us Canada 24, the Arctic Snowblowers 19. 50 laps around Sunset Speedway to make it into the race. Green flag is out. We are underway. The LCQ here at Sunset Speedway. Steckley out to a good lead. Here comes the 5 of Connor James into second place. Herniak Jr. on the inside. And on the outside is Kevin Trevelyan in the number 19. Todd Shepard side by side. Oh, no, he's actually fallen back. Shepard is out of that top 5. And he has fallen backwards. James solidly into second. Herniak solidly into third. Battle now for fourth place. It is Carson Nagy to the inside of Kevin Trevelyan in the 19. Teamersma falling back in the 67. He is now out of that top 5 and not able to qualify. Always Pinty Series, Maynards, on this channel. That's what we love. Steckley out in front. All these cars, fictional race cars with fictional companies from Canada and the United States. Drivers we'd love to see some point. Steckley way out in front now. The battle, of course, like we said, is for that fourth position. Todd Shepard, unfortunately, in the 55 has fallen way back, as has the 67 of Garrett Teamersma. Not able to stay up with the front of the field. Brent Weller back there. Trevor Culver not overly fast either in the number 1. Teammate, though, TJ Ritamato is moving up in the number 2 car. He is side by side with Chantel Kalika in the number 43. That's an entry for Larry Jackson Racing. As here goes Ritamato past Kalika side by side. Marley Owen and Kevin Trevelyan. Then on the high side, here is Michael Herniak Jr. He's got Trevelyan now looking to his inside. Ray Morneau Jr. has now moved into the transfer spot. In the 03, Herniak Jr. back into the 5th place. 6th for Trevelyan, 7th for Owen. Actually, it looks like Carson Nagy may have done a great job. Carson Nagy has now moved himself up there. Connor James and Kyle Steckley. So right now, that battle up at the front, not really as competitive as we were expecting. Steckley getting away. Shepard now battling back through the field. He got stuck on the high side. Malcolm Strawn now in the Mill Street Brewery 56 on the high side. Trevor Culver now trying to, he's losing positions. That number 1 car not able to stay with the rest of the field, unfortunately. So you watch, this is that back of the field that is still battling really closely. But the battle, of course, like we said, top 4 qualify into the 125 lap race. Here's Trevelyan just outside there. And, of course, how about this? Just running outside of that 4th spot, Michael Herniak Jr. in the 15. Ray Morneau Jr. in the 03, and Carson Nagy found their way up through the field. They did not start on the front 2 rows, yet they find themselves in the transfer position. And unfortunately, 50 laps here is going to go by extremely quickly. If you are not able to stay competitive, you might find yourself out of this race. Of course, the start, we saw Trevelyan right on the front row with Steckley, and he faded back and unfortunately has not been able to stay up with the top 4 competitors. It looks like Morneau might be catching Nagy there in 3rd position. Then there's a considerable gap back from Kevin Trevelyan to Chantel Kalika. And of course, as we mentioned, if you do not make a top 4, you are not racing this evening in the 125er. 20 cars made it into the race based off of their earlier qualifying times. If they were not fast enough, they were not able to make it. Kyle Steckley also trying to get in here for his first start of the season in this fictional season. Connor James also falling back now from Kyle Steckley. Steckley really having a solid pace here. He's trying to catch actually the back of the field, and it looks like maybe Marley Owen may have dropped towards the back of the field. And yeah, that does appear to be the 21 Sutton Group car that is in danger of going a lap down. And as we saw with the race at Montmagny with Raphael Lessard and leader Alex Taglioni, lap traffic can play a role in whether or not you get the victory. But we can definitely see Carson Nagy is definitely closing in on that number 5 of Connor James, and that would be for a 2nd position, give him a little more insurance to make it into the top 4. Steckley, of course, is going to have to deal with the 21 of Owen. We expect to see Marley Owen a couple more races, oval races in this series. Steckley really working on trying to get by on that high side. Nagy, Morneau, Herniak, it looks like we're going to stay pretty well single file here for these next couple laps. See, Morneau trying that high side, trying to get a bit of a run. See if it makes any difference. Steckley not able to get by Owen yet. As we ride on board with Carson Nagy. As you see there, just in front, Marley Owen has been lapped. And staying to that high side is Ray Morneau Jr. in turn 1. Owen's going to go to the pits. Marley Owen to the pit road. And that's unfortunate for her, because it will knock her out of this race. Riding on board with Connor James. Not sure what's happened to the graphics here. They've kind of gone wonky on me. So we're on the back of the field here. Taking a look back at Trevor Culver, Todd Shepard, and TJ Renamato. There's Brent Weller in the 61. He right now is still not close enough. A lot of these guys, Trevelyan you see falling back from Herniak. Herniak, though, looks like he could potentially get to Morneau. It's whether or not he's going to be able to get there in time and pass him to get into that 4th position and qualify for the Sunset Race. Of course, these are all fictional cars. Bases, templates, a lot of the numbers provided by Jerry Hall. Haywood Racing on NR2003. Take a look. He's got all sorts of NASCAR Pinty Series / Canadian Tire Series schemes dating back to 2011. So it looks like we've got a solid 4 here. Unless something happens and drivers need a pit stop, I don't know if there's going to be any change here. Connor James there in the 5 in second, solidly in second. Nagy third, Morneau, and like you said, Herniak is close enough, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to get a run in time. There's only 50 laps, as we said here. We're on lap 33, and that's not going to do it. Under 20 laps to go here. Kyle Steckley out for a nice drive out in the lead. Solidly in the lead as we take a look there at Steckley. And he's looking actually like it looks like he's going to catch Marley Owen again. So she must have had some sort of an issue, and that's why she went to pit road. Unfortunately, that will more than likely she will be out of this this competitive race and will not make the 125 and won't make the second one either. So right now, Kyle Steckley solidly in the lead here. Still some lap traffic just ahead. TJ Renamato, Marley Owen, of course, Connor James. There's Renamato right there. Todd Shepard, Culver, Teamersma also. This is going to hurt the hopes of the 67 team. Promotive Racing was expecting to run the full season. David Thorndike and Garrett Teamersma running the full season for the 67 team. Doesn't look like they'll make it. The Jim Bray 56 of Malcolm Strawn doesn't appear that he will make it either. Brent Weller, who is also a series regular. Chantel Kalika in a one-off for Larry Jackson Racing. Kevin Trevelyan, who started on the front row, doesn't appear like he will make it either, which is definitely a shame for him. This is really the battle, though. This is the transfer spot, and unless something crazy happens, I don't know if we're going to see that 15 of Michael Herniak Jr. be able to pass Ray Morneau Jr. and take over the 4th position and ultimately make it into the 125 lapper that's coming up directly after this. Of course, I'll have to change the settings because I'm not a fan of how the graphics are looking. They're looking a little smudged up, so I'm going to have to fix that. But we should be heading around the end here. 42, we've got 8 laps to go. Kyle Steckley, like we said, out for a nice drive. Connor James and the take 5, number 5, sits here in second place. Got Carson Nagy in the 93 Fielding Wineries Chevrolet just behind him. And then a little bit of distance back between Ray Morneau Jr. and the JR Excavating Caterpillar Chevrolet, or it's actually a Dodge in the 03. See those lap cars ahead of Steckley. I don't think it's going to make much of a move. Unfortunately, we're pretty spread out here. We're going to watch the Kyle Steckley car as he comes through these lap cars as he wraps up this heat race. And we don't expect that there's going to be much more in terms of changes. It looks like Morneau has now gotten back farther up ahead of Michael Herniak, and unfortunately that will spell the end for Herniak Hall Motorsports' opportunities to make it into the main event here tonight. Two of their cars, of course, Todd Shepard in the 55 and the 15 of Michael Herniak Jr. See, Marley Owen's going to stay to the high side. It's going to allow Steckley to go around the bottom. And TJ Renamato just ahead of Marley Owen in the number 2. IHL Mark Dom Chevrolet. Unfortunately, he will not qualify. He's also a full-timer this season. We don't expect to see Marley Owen very often in this season so far. Right now, it's only scheduled to be here in Delaware Speedway, but she potentially could run the race at Ucasa as well. Of course, that will also be one where you're more than likely going to need an LCQ. One of the drivers we were expecting is the white flag is out for Kyle Steckley to get this LCQ victory. And it looks like the solid 4 are there. A little bit high for Carson Nagy into 1 that time, but I don't think that there's going to be any challenge here as Kyle Steckley will come around 4 and take the checkered flag. He qualifies for the main event. Connor James, Carson Nagy, and Ray Morneau Jr. will join him. Your field is set for the 125 at Sunset Speedway coming up shortly. So unfortunately, TJ Renamato did go a lap down. Marley Owen ended up 3 laps down. It is confirmed right there from our results. You see the top 4 competitors that are going to race in our 125. Not qualifying, Michael Herniak Jr. in the 15, Kevin Trevelyan in the 19, Chantel Kalika in the 43, Brent Weller in the 61, Malcolm Strawn in the 56, Garrett Teemersma in the 67, Trevor Culver in the number 1, Todd Shepard in the 55, TJ Renamato in the number 2, and Marley Owen in the 21. These drivers that are in this, of course, there's no points for the Hooligan Race. This is just to make this show, so we don't have to worry about the point standings there. So Kyle Steckley will qualify into that race. We're going to make the changes right here on the fly and add the drivers that qualified. Ray Morneau Jr. qualifies. And then we've got to add the number 5 for Connor James. The 93 for Carson Nagy. And it was a great battle overall, but unfortunately it is not going to be enough. For a lot of these names that came out here and tried, Kyle Steckley will be the 24th and final entrant here for this event. What we're going to do, I am just going to make some graphic changes. Make that a little bit smaller, and hopefully it'll turn out a little bit nicer. As it should. That's what we need for the main event. As we just wait here for the ratings update, obviously this has to be done for, just to make things a little bit more realistic or a little bit interesting. Obviously, one of the things that N Ratings does do is it allows you to use real-life data and match and map drivers based off of their actual performance. Obviously, some of these drivers we have not seen in the Pinty series before, so we can't really base it on that. But you try to get drivers of similar, maybe similar attitude or similar performance. So it'll be very interesting to see kind of how this race ends up. And I like to switch around which ratings that we use. Obviously, it's always kind of a crapshoot. You never really know how everybody's results will actually turn out. So we will check it out for sure. And we'll see how everything goes here. So obviously our main roster is going to look a little bit different for today. You're going to have some names that you more than likely will recognize without a doubt. That is something that you can definitely be sure of. Now, obviously we were at Sunset Speedway for the race this past year, and it was the races actually this past year, and they were phenomenal. It was so much fun being there, and we absolutely loved pretty well everything that we got to experience. It was a remarkable time, and we really didn't expect it to be as fun as it was. Really, I'd never been to Sunset Speedway before, and obviously it was a lot of intensity. There was some action on track, and it resulted in some hurt feelings and some visits to victory lane that maybe weren't appreciated. But obviously we would love the series to return there. It's such a good racetrack, and a lot of fun too. So obviously gotta pull for it. Being on the Pinty schedule for 2022, we definitely hope, at least. And so we'll get these ratings. They're just being popped in and calculated right now, and we are basically about ready to go here. And we'll be heading green for 125 laps around the speedway, and that should be a lot of fun. Absolutely a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll have to see here how the ratings end up. I hope they work out okay. I don't really know how they'll do, but we'll have to see here. So let's get you your field rundown as we get ready to go. So with this track, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that we can I can adjust. If the car that only allows 24 cars, and only allows 24 cars, I can't really. You can push it on some tracks, like you can add additional drivers, but I wouldn't really recommend doing that, just because it can cause the game to crash, and obviously I wouldn't want that to happen right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Sunset Speedway, and we are going under the lights, and we are going for 125 laps. Not a full 250 in this race. And we're going with the Sunset 1. 24. Let's go full speed on this one. Probably add some chaos into it. All right, here we go. 24 drivers. We're going to skip practice qualifying. Doesn't really make a huge difference here. And let's get you your entry list before we get you your starting lineup. All right.
Drivers, to your cars.
Here we go. Your entry list. Brett Taylor in the number 3 for EHR Racing, Ed Hackinson Motorsports. J.R. Fitzpatrick in the number 4 for Holdaway Motorsports. Connor James drives the number 5 for Holdaway Motorsports. And Pete Shepard the 3rd for Dave Jacobs. Shea Gemmel drives the 8 car, and that's an EHR car as well. White Motorsports in the number 9 for Brandon Watson, the 03 for Ray Morneau Jr. in a conjunction with DJK Racing. DJK Racing also, of course, for DJ Kennington, the number 17. 22 Racing for Alex Tagliani in the number 18. 20 for Trayton Lapsevich from 22 Racing, as well as the 22 for Marc-Antoine Cameron and Kyle Steckley in the 24. Dave Jacobs Racing is the team for Cole Powell in the 36. The 47 for LP Dumoulin is Dumoulin Competition. Rick Ware Racing owns the 51 and 52 for Andrew Ranger and Alex Gannett. Gary Clute in the 59. It's a Clute Motorsports. 64 for White Motorsports' driver Mark Dilley. Lacroix Autosports, Kevin Lacroix. White Motorsports is Donald Teague in the number 80. And Larry Jackson Racing's Larry Jackson in the 84. Dexter Stacy drives for EHR at Hackinson Racing. And Carson Nagy in the 93 is an affiliated Nagy Motorsports EHR car. Jim Bray Racing's number 98 is Sam Fellows. 125 laps around this racetrack. Let's see how they line up. It's Andrew Ranger on the pole position over Gary Clute. DJ Kennington in the number 17, Shea Gemmel in the 8. J.R. Fitzpatrick and LP Dumoulin share row number 3. Row number 4 is Kevin Lacroix and Alex Tagliani. Row number 5 is Donald Teague and Cole Powell. Row number 6, Brandon Watson. And qualifying from the LCQ, how about Carson Nagy qualifies 12th. Right behind him, the winner of the LCQ, Kyle Steckley, in 13th. Marc-Antoine Camerand is 14th. 15th for Dexter Stacy and Pete Shepard III qualifies in 16th place. Ray Morneau Jr. and Mark Dilley. Trayton Lapsovich in 19th place. That's a bit of a struggle for him. Larry Jackson in 20th. Alex Gannett qualifies 21st. Connor James in 22nd. Brett Taylor in 23rd. And at the back, Sam Fellows in the number 98. We are getting ready to go here. 125 laps. Let's take a look at the front of the field of our number 51. Driving the Rockstar Energy Drink machine today is Andrew Ranger. I don't think these graphics really got fixed, unfortunately, so must be having something going off with it today because I've been fiddling with it. You see Gary Clute and the Leon's number 59, the Kraft Canada 17 for DJ Kennington, and the Unilever Canada number 8. That, of course, is Shea Gemmel. Kodiak Boots on the number 4, and the Cookit WeatherTech 47 for LP Dumoulin. Well, we're getting ready to go racing here, and obviously the NASCAR Pinty Series is a real series. You can watch it across Canada on TSN and in the United States on MAV TV. Something else to watch out for is these actual drivers that you will see at the racetrack. These are not made-up fictional drivers. These are actual drivers that you will see compete. One of the coolest things about the NASCAR Pinty Series, you're able to go out, get yourself an autograph, take a picture with the car, and of course watch some fantastic action. This year, of course, the schedule is still to be released, but we can expect races across Western Canada all the way out until Eastern Canada. We've been as far as Nova Scotia and gone even to the States, to New Hampshire at Loudon International Raceway. So obviously this series is one of our favorites here on the Stickers and Scuffs channel. Not our only favorite, but we definitely love it. The field's going to get ready to go here. 24 cars. We've got 30 seconds until they start rallying around the racetrack. It's always a lot of fun watching these fictional cars go around with fully sponsored big brands on these cars. Something we're not actually able to see right now. There's some fantastic partners that you do see in the NASCAR Pinty Series. Obviously, always looking for more. So if you know a business or a company that would be great on a race car, reach out to us. We can definitely help. We have great connections within the series and would always love to see new
Start your engines!
sponsors in the series. As the command is given, we are ready to go racing here. 125 laps. Andrew Ranger and Gary Clute on the front row. DJ Kennington and Shea Gemmel on the outside of row number 2. J.R. Fitzpatrick and LP Dumoulin on row number 3. Kevin Lacroix and Alex Tagliani. A bunch up of the field once again. It's always an issue when you put higher stats. Carson Nagy there getting back into line. It'll be Andrew Ranger and Gary Clute on the front row. 125 laps for the NASCAR Pinty's fictional season. We are green as they rocket down into turn number 1. Ranger with an easy take of the lead right away. And here comes DJ Kennington on the outside. So Andrew Ranger easily out in front. And it's now J.R. Fitzpatrick to the inside for second place. Definitely got to watch that. Look at the field spreading out. 2 and 3 wide action. Can't stay like that forever. Got to watch what's going on as we head back into turn number 1. Ranger, Fitzpatrick, Kennington. Looks like Brandon Watson already up into 4th place. Great start for Brandon. Yeah, see the graphics here. Not looking as great as I was hoping. Looks like the shading is not working as well as it has. Side by side, that's Alex Gannett to the inside of Donald Teach. Remember, he did not start very well, so he's already made a great amount of space up. As you see, Brandon Watson and Kyle Steckley has moved up. You're looking at Gary Clute here. Kyle Steckley up into, it looks like he might be into 6th or 5th. What a start for Kyle Steckley. And, I mean, he did pretty well in his APC debut, so why not? Yeah, it looks like 5th place already. Here's the Canada Dry Tricor Chevrolet for Brandon Watson. Brandon, of course, ran some races for White Motorsports last year in the APC series and was, or in the APC series, in the Pinty series, and was extremely impressive, led some laps and got on the podium. And, of course, DJ Kennington there running in 3rd place. DJ had a really rotten start to his season last year. He had an engine issue right off the bat and didn't last very long in the first race, but came back and finished 2nd in the 2nd race at Sunset Speedway. So he's looking pretty competitive right off the bat. Ranger, Fitzpatrick, Kennington. And then it's Brandon Watson. Here at the back of the field, I can't believe I'm saying this, it's LP Dumoulin running at the back of the field right now. Pete Shepard just ahead of him. Mark Dilley and Alex Tagliani all struggling early on the early going here. The Casper Mattress 22 for Marc-Antoine Camerand. As Ray Morneau Jr. moving up. Sam Fellows in the 98. Shea Gemmel's really fallen back in the 8 car. Carson Nagy in the 93 has moved up. Great run for him so far. He's actually made a couple of starts so far this season. This is his first race, however, with fielding Wineries and Quinston Buick Chevrolet on the car. Mark Dilley right behind him in the 64. Larry Jackson on the high side. There's Cole Powell in the 36 and Sam Fellows there looking to get to the inside. Little contact there. Maybe a little bit more contact there with Larry Jackson in the wall. Really high for Larry Jackson. Oh boy, I hope he didn't get into the wall there. Off of turn 4. Now he's got Ray Morneau Jr. to his inside. Look at Brett Taylor moved up. Connor James has moved up as well. The Dempsters, Bread number 74 for Kevin Lacroix. Couche-Tard number 80 for Donald Teach. Let's see where Donald is running. 9th place. And right ahead of him, Dexter Stacy in the number 92. Unfortunately, he did not last very long in his Pinty Series race at Sunset Speedway this past year because they got into an incident, had contact in turn 1 and 2, and broke the suspension Wasn't even able to finish even to start, actually, the second race, yet was able to put in such a consistent season that he still did finish 9th in the points, I believe. It was either 9th or 10th in the point standings, which was a fantastic run for him. Here at the Every Child Matters 92. Seagull Guitars and National Bank also on this car. Hopefully we'll see Dexter Stacy back running for EHR once again. There's Alex Gannett in the 52. Here's Gary Clute, Kyle Steckley, Brandon Watson, DJ Kennington, J.R. Fitzpatrick, and right at the front, the 51 Rockstar Energy Drink Ford for Andrew Ranger. Now, Ranger is catching lap traffic, which is shocking to say that he's catching the back of the field that has Pete Shepard, Marc-Antoine Cameron, and LP Dumoulin in it. Larry Jackson looks like he's now falling to the back of the field. You see, there's Cameron right in front of Andrew Ranger, so they are setting a torrent pace so far. And Pete Shepard was one of the most dominant cars we saw here last year, but unfortunately really struggling in the Booster Juice number 7. Cameron there, it looks like Ranger's going to go to the high side, but that's going to allow the 4 of J.R. Fitzpatrick to close in just ever so slightly. Look at him there on the inside. Ranger looking high. We saw this earlier. You don't want to do that too often. They dive down into turn number 1 and 2. But that lap traffic is pretty severe in front of these leaders. So much so that Fitzpatrick and Kennington are closing in. Cameron there on the high side of the 51. And now to the inside of Cameron goes Ranger. Probably the best move that he has to make is to get a lap car in between him. Goes high here into turn number 1. Not really what you want to do. And this is also allowing Brandon Watson to close in on Kennington for that 3rd position. Side by side now in front of the leader is the 22 of Cameron and the 7 of Shepard. Larry Jackson just ahead of them. J.R. Fitzpatrick is there, however. Fitzpatrick now looking to the inside in turn number 4. J.R. Fitzpatrick in the Kodiak boots number 4 for Holdaway Motorsports in the Chevrolet. He's got to run off of number 2 into 3. Still side by side. Ranger is going to have to give way as your new leader is J.R. Fitzpatrick as he goes to the inside of Pete Shepard. He battled Pete Shepard last year in the APC Series. Pete was in the championship battle with Trayton Lapsovich and Brandon Watson. Settled, I believe it was 3rd place that he had to settle for. So J.R. Fitzpatrick is now your leader. He has got the lap car of Pete Shepard behind him as a buffer. Still has to get by that 22 car, however, and put him a lap down. You see Carson Nagy is starting to fall back in the 93. Larry Jackson just ahead of him. Whoa, way high for J.R. Fitzpatrick off of 3 and 4. But, of course, it's about exploring where you can get a run, and that didn't really work for him. Brandon Watson has now moved into 3rd past DJ Kennington and is now looking at 2nd place as Pete Shepard now unlaps himself from J.R. Fitzpatrick. And here comes Ranger now looking back down to the inside. Kennington to the inside of Watson. Back to the high side goes Fitzpatrick. He's definitely trying something. See if we can get a good run off of 4. That's not really how it's going to work because here comes Ranger back down to the inside. Kennington back by Watson. Ranger now looking to clear, and he will into 3. Fitzpatrick not able to really get a good turn. Ranger back into the lead. Kennington back into 3rd. Here comes Watson looking back to the inside. And here comes Shepard now to the inside of Cameron. Battle between the lap cars. Fitzpatrick now back down to the inside of Ranger. These lap cars really causing problems for our leaders. Now here comes Fitzpatrick. He will clear Ranger. Ranger going really high. That's going to allow Kennington to the inside. Kennington, will he clear off of 2? Not yet. Going to clear into 3 potentially. Looks like he will. Kennington now into second place. Fitzpatrick back into the lead. Still trying to get to the inside of Cameron. Cameron cuts him off. Doesn't want to go a lap down. Watson now looking to the inside of Ranger. Kennington going wide again in 3 and 4. That's going to allow Ranger to go back by. Fitzpatrick building that little bit of a lead, but again, he can't go anywhere. These lap cars are really in the way, and they're getting stacked up behind Carson Nagy and Larry Jackson going side by side. Shepard and Cameron trying to make a decision on where to go. Nags by Larry Jackson, and now finally to the inside is J.R. Fitzpatrick to the inside of Cameron to put Cameron to lap down. Now he's got to get Larry Jackson and the number 7 of Pete Shepard to put them a lap down as well. He's got a 1-car buffer. Brandon Watson back by Kennington into 3rd. Now what Ranger needs to do is he needs to try and get by. And unfortunately, Cameron putting up such a good battle to stay back on the lead lap. He's got the inside line again, and that's going to trap Fitzpatrick to the high side. Not what he wanted to do. And here comes Ranger now looking back to the inside in the 51. Brandon Watson there in 3rd. Kennington there is the top 4 battle continuously. I don't know if that 5th place car is getting any closer. It doesn't appear, as now Andrew Ranger is back into the lead. And here comes Watson now looking to the inside. Ranger even higher. Oh, into the wall. Andrew Ranger has hit the outside wall. Contact with Fitzpatrick, and he is going to fall back. Potentially into that 4th place as Brandon Watson now takes the lead in the 9 car. Watson can't get by the lap car of Larry Jackson. Side by side goes Kennington and Fitzpatrick. To the inside and clear goes Kennington. Now here comes Ranger looking back at the 4 car of Fitzpatrick. What a great battle so far that we are seeing here for the lead. Back and forth and back and forth. The lap car is causing problems. Brandon Watson is now back out in front, clear of DJ Kennington, but he's going to go to the inside now of Cameron. Hopefully that'll be good enough to make some separation between him and DJ Kennington. Kennington going high. Unfortunately, that's where Cameron is. He puts Kennington high, or he puts Cameron high, and Cameron will stay high in 3 and 4. And that should help these front cars finally get past the lap car of Marc-Antoine Cameron. That, though, was one hell of a battle. But Brandon Watson has come out of here with the lead. DJ Kennington now looking just behind him. Larry Jackson sits in front of the leader, still on the lead lap. He's got the lap car of Pete Shepard just in front of him. These guys aren't lapped yet, however. Watson going high. This is something that we've seen routinely here at Sunset Speedway. Them trying to get some sort of a run. Doesn't seem to be happening, but you do see, however, Larry Jackson looking to the inside of the 7 car of Pete Shepard. And here comes Ranger back at Kennington. Sam Fellows in the 98 has also started to fall back. Fellows in the 98 now in danger of being passed by Larry Jackson and by the 7 car of Pete Shepard. Fellows was running up higher in the field earlier, but unfortunately started to fall back as Watson, great move to the inside of Shepard in the 7 car, and he will clear him into 3. Larry Jackson still trying to make that move to stay on the high side. Kyle Steckley has hit pit road. I'm not sure if that's a scheduled stop or not. Doesn't appear like it would be. Watson now looking to the inside on his teammate Mark Dilley. Dilley will stay to the high side, and now Watson is definitely carving his way through the lap traffic much better. That Cameron's car is out of the way. So Brandon Watson into the lead solidly now. He's got a battle between Sam Fellows and Carson Nagy ahead of him. Larry Jackson and Mark Dilley behind him. That's trapped Andrew Ranger, J.R. Fitzpatrick, and DJ Kennington behind those lap cars. Let's take a look at our lap counter right now. 63 laps. This potentially could be a really big disaster for the rest of the field because they have to try and get by these lap cars. As we take a look here, Andrew Ranger is in the 51 car trying to get by the 7 of Pete Shepard, and unfortunately Pete is in a battle here with the 84. They've gotten by the 64 of Mark Dilley right now and Cameron, but Cameron's still giving trouble for the 17 of DJ Kennington as the battle now once again for second place. Here comes J.R. Fitzpatrick to the inside of Andrew Ranger. He will take it once again. I don't know how many times we've seen them battle back and forth, but Brandon Watson has now cleared several lap cars while these two need to. Kennington's still trying to get by the 22. He will finally clear the 22 of Marc-Antoine Cameron and look to the inside of Andrew Ranger. So Cameron putting up the biggest fight so far for these cars as Kennington now clears into third place. Ranger back to fourth. Remember, Ranger did get into the wall earlier, so potentially some damage on that 51's right side. As you see, finally some movement from these front drivers here as Brandon Watson has now put Carson Nagy a lap down. Let's take a look at some of these cars in front. There's Sam Fellows. He's up in the 17th position right now. 16th is Shea Gemmel. 15th is his teammate Brett Taylor. LP Dumoulin, who we saw last at one point, is up to looks to be now the 13th position as he gets by Ray Morneau Jr. in the 03, who had to qualify in the LCQ to make this race. Cole Powell running in the 12th position. 11th is Dexter Stacy. Alex Tagliani, we also saw at the back of the field. He's made his way up to 10th. Connor James is in 9th. Donald Teague is in 8th. Alex Gannett is in 7th. Gary Clute is in 6th. Kevin Lacroix is 5th, but quite a ways away from the field in front. See, these gaggle of lap cars finally have been sorted by the lead lap cars. Cameron, Shepard, Jackson, Steckley, Nagy, and Dilley all in this pack here. But you see, again, once again, the lead lap car of Andrew Ranger cannot get by these lap cars as easily as the other front runners. As we see Mark Dilley make a move, he gets by Jackson and Shepard, keeps Ranger to the high side. Ranger just cannot seem to get off. Oh, way high for Ranger. That's not what you want to do. And that's going to allow Larry Jackson and Cameron to try and push by. Ranger really struggling to get his car to turn. Oh, contact there with Shepard and Nagy. Really, really close contact there. These guys are getting really feisty. As Kevin Lacroix came out of nowhere, and he is going to pass Andrew Ranger and move into fourth place as here comes the 74 to the inside of the lap cars of Dilley and Nagy. Clearly that damage to Ranger may be affecting his handling. Gary Clute just into this picture right now. He is also in the battle for a top 5 position. So you see Larry Jackson right now currently sitting 20th. He is a lap car. Marc-Antoine Cameron up to 19th. Pete Shepard is 18th. Kyle Steckley currently in 23rd place. Unfortunately, unable. And we've got a car on pit road. It looks like it's Carson Nagy now. And that could potentially be some damage or some issues going on there. Brandon Watson, however, has now lost the lead. J.R. Fitzpatrick is now back into the lead. Brandon Watson is chasing. And DJ Kennington battling with Kyle Steckley. Steckley is a lap car, however. Sam Fellows is also a lap car, but currently ahead is Brandon Watson. Now going to the inside. They have the Shea Gemmel machine in front. As Brandon Watson now gets the lead back. What a fantastic battle we have seen so far today between these competitors. Absolutely amazing. Brandon Watson here in the White Motorsports Canada Dry Keurig Dr. Pepper Canada machine, number 9 in the lead, but here comes Fitzpatrick back to the inside. They've got Gemmel in front, Taylor ahead of him, side by side here for the lead once again. On lap number 84, Kyle Steckley going to the inside of the 98. Here comes that 9 car back to the inside. And he will regain the lead once again. DJ Kennington stuck behind Sam Fellows in the 98. And here comes Steckley to the inside of Fitzpatrick, as Fitzpatrick looking to the inside of Watson. 3 wide into turn number 1 and 2. That doesn't normally work here. Watson really high off of 2, as Steckley really trying to get those laps back. Watson's going to go even higher than he wanted to out of turn 4. Fitzpatrick, Watson, lap car Fellows, then it's Kennington. So clearly the battle has been with the leaders and lap cars. These front 4, though, before Andrew Ranger faded away, they were the dominant cars. We'll have to take a look and see where we are in terms of drivers that are potentially going to be in the way here. Watson, of course, is not in your lead right now. Shea Gemmell is just in front of our leader, J.R. Fitzpatrick. His teammate in that number 3 car, Brett Taylor, currently sits just ahead of Gemmell, but potentially will be another lap car that we have to navigate. Kyle Steckley does seem to have a really good car, but again, they did have to pit, some sort of an issue earlier in this race. We also saw Carson Nagy head to pit road. I don't know if he's gotten back out on the racetrack. We'll just take a quick look. There he is, just ahead of LP Dumoulin. He is currently sitting in 23rd place. I believe we do have a car that has retired from the race. I don't see it. You see Ranger really fading backwards now with that damage, as his teammate now, Alex Gannett, is going to the inside to try and pass him. And he most likely will clear. And you see that damage just where the door is on Andrew Ranger's car. No caution so far in this race. Mark Dilley, 21st place. And there is, in 4th place, Kevin Lacroix, who's moved up pretty steadily throughout this field. So we see Steckley still battling at the front here, as we've got J.R. Fitzpatrick, Brandon Watson, DJ Kennington. They look like it's going to be the 3 of them settling who wins this race, as Steckley goes high. Kennington's going to go to the inside, as J.R. Fitzpatrick, once again, to the lead, is going to get by Brandon Watson on lap number 96 of 125. We are 30 laps to go. Watson now back to the inside. Is he going to bring Kennington with him? Watson doesn't lead that lap, but he definitely will get that one, this next one. So he gets by J.R. Fitzpatrick once again. Here comes DJ Kennington looking to the inside in the 17 Craft Canada car, the KD machine. And DJ Kennington has not led so far today. He goes to the inside of Brandon Watson. Will he lead this next lap? Kennington clear on the inside. DJ Kennington now leads this lap. He goes high. Now back down to the inside goes Watson. I really don't understand them trying the high side. It really doesn't seem to work, but I understand that they're definitely trying, but it's not working. Kennington will lead that lap, but Watson comes right back by in the 9 car. Fitzpatrick now falling a little bit further behind than I guess he wanted to. Kennington still trying that high side, maybe trying to get a run, see if he can get a better run into 1. Tries the high side again, no luck, and that's going to bring Fitzpatrick back into this battle here. Lap cars surrounding them behind, so it's not really going to be a battle, I think, from anybody behind them. There's just these 3, unless there's a caution flag. We've been lucky so far, no cautions, but fantastic battling in this race so far, as DJ Kennington back to the inside of Brandon Watson. He's going to lead again. Fitzpatrick also looking to that inside line. Shea Gemmell in that 8 car once again. Again, I almost feel it's that they're not trying to get in potentially the way of the lap cars. Kennington's going to go high again. Watson back to the inside. Fitzpatrick holding 3rd. Really not going to see much of a difference, I don't think, in these next couple of laps. It seems like they've kind of stalled out behind Shea Gemmell in the 8 car, as you see here in the number 8 Unilever Canada North Country Property Maintenance Chevrolet, as J.R. Fitzpatrick now looking to the inside once again of Brandon Watson. He gets by Kennington, and this is that battle for the lead once again. There's Fitzpatrick looking on the inside. Watson's going to stay high. Fitzpatrick clears. Fitzpatrick back in the lead. If only the racing was like this every single place that people raced, it would be fantastic. Kennington back down to the inside once again. He's looking on the inside of Fitzpatrick. He wants the lead once again. Gemmel really causing problems for the leaders here. They need to get by the 8 car if they want to make some moves here. And Kennington still can't seem to get that run. Here comes Pete Shepard, the lap car, looking to the inside of Brandon Watson, getting himself in this battle. That's not what we need to see. It puts Fitzpatrick up higher. He may have gotten into the wall. Kennington right behind Shea Gemmel. Will he make a move and punt the 8 car out of the way? It doesn't look like it. Now Cameron back into this battle, but he is a lap car. What are they doing? Lap cars making themselves the story as Cameron now back to the inside of Kennington. Gemmel still clear. Cameron now by. Here comes Jackson. Shepard is there as well. These have been the strongest lap cars I think we've seen. As here goes to the inside. Brandon Watson 3 wide with the lap cars. And Brandon Watson, there's Andrew Ranger, Gary Clute. We haven't seen Gary all race long. And now Gary Clute finds himself in this top 5 battle, 3 wide. Behind them, Brandon Watson solidly in the lead. Here comes Clute for second. Shepard makes contact with Gemmel. Gary Clute now looking for the lead. And he will get it. The 59 car of Gary Clute into the lead. Andrew Ranger now into second place. Here comes Ranger back to the inside. He's going to get by Gary Clute. Watson into the wall. Contacts. There's a big crash on the backstretch, and it involved some of our leaders. DJ Kennington was involved. I think maybe Brandon Watson was involved as well. A huge crash with 10 laps to go. Some of the most dominant cars in this race. Contact with Larry Jackson back there. We saw this. This was going to happen. The lap cars were getting involved, and we have a huge wreck that's going to take out some of these lead lap cars. I can't believe what we just saw. This was crazy. I mean, we had seen Brandon Watson get high before, and we had seen cars get high. Now we see here, he is completely, now I don't know if this is the corner that he makes contact. I think it's actually the next corner. So you see Gary Clute is clear. He's clear into the lead. Ranger is there. Here comes Fitzpatrick. Now Clute completely miffs this corner. Completely high. Ranger's going by on the inside line. Now Jackson is there, but does he make contact? It doesn't look like he does, but Watson hits the wall, comes back into Jackson, into Kennington, into Dilly, and all of them into the wall. There's Donald Teague. Teague makes hard contact with Watson. Lacroix makes contact with Teague. Here comes Fellows. Connor James is going to slow up. Cole Powell is going to slow up. And Alex Tagliani will slow up. But Donald Teague, lead lap car. Brandon Watson, the most dominant car of the day. And he's got smoke, so that car is more than likely done for the day. And DJ Kennington, all significant damage here. And that is more than likely going to knock a lot of those guys out of the lead and out of the race. Andrew Ranger is now currently your leader here, and they might get the green flag here with only a couple of laps to go, which would mean that we're going to see a shootout here. And remember, in this simulator, you're not going to see double file restarts. You're also not going to see a green-white checkered. That's not in this system. So Andrew Ranger, even with that damage, is now back out into the lead. Gary Clute, who seemingly came out of nowhere, is second. J.R. Fitzpatrick is third. Alex Gannett, potentially there, is in fourth place now. We haven't talked about him the entire race. And now he looks to be up in this top four. Let's do a full field rundown since we've got some time. Trayton Lapsevich out of the race with a mechanical problem. We haven't really seen him the entire race, unfortunately. Brandon Watson out of this race now officially. Donald Teague is officially out of this race. We are going back to green flag racing. This time we will have 5 laps to go for Andrew Ranger, Gary Clute, and J.R. Fitzpatrick. I don't know if anybody else can get up there and get this win. Green flag back out in the air. Andrew Ranger leads. Gary Clute second. J.R. Fitzpatrick. Here comes Gannett to the inside. That's a battle for third. This is what Ranger needs. He needs to get away. Clute right behind him in second place. Now Gannett up into third. Rick Ware Racing looking really stout here, as even Gannett looking to try and get second place from Clute. Could we see a Rick Ware Racing 1-2 in the fictional NASCAR Pinty Series 2022 season? Top 3 seem intact. J.R. Fitzpatrick has fallen back to 4th. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to be competitive in this battle for the win. I think Andrew Ranger might be on his way to securing the race victory. Even if they were to get a caution now, they would not be able to restart in time. So unless Gary Clute is able to get by in a couple laps dash here, this will be Andrew Ranger's race victory unless lap cars or a caution potentially come up. And Cole Powell is going to come right out in front of the leaders. That is not what Andrew Ranger needed to see. Gary Clute is right there now. White flag in the air. Andrew Ranger, lap car ahead of him. Here comes Gary Clute. Can he make a run into 3 and 4? I don't think he's going to be able to make it. Ranger goes high. Clute going down low. I don't think it's going to be enough. Andrew Ranger wins the first race at Sunset Speedway. Gary Clute second. How about Alex Gannett in the 52? What a finish. What a race. Fantastic stuff. 0.270 at the end of this event. Alex Gannett finishes on the podium. Alex Tagliani, we didn't even see him. He makes his way up into 4th place. J.R. Fitzpatrick is in 5th. Kevin Lacroix, 6th. Great runs for Dexter Stacy in 7th. Connor James makes the race in the LCQ by finishing 2nd. Ray Morneau Jr. finishes 4th. He gets into the LCQ. He gets a top 10 out of it. And DJ Kennington, with that damage, able to finish in 10th place. LP Dumoulin finishes 11th. Pete Shepard into 12th. Brett Taylor and Marc-Antoine Cameron. Mark battled the entire race long to get his laps back, and he did it and finishes in 14th place. Mark Dilley 15th, Sam Fellows in 16th, Larry Jackson in 17th, Cole Powell 18th, Shea Gemmel 19th, 20th for Carson Nagy, 21st for Kyle Steckley. Your 3 retirements: Donald Teague, Brandon Watson, and Trayton Lapsevich. That will do it here from Sunset Speedway. 125 laps are in the books. We'll try and get the point standings out there for you. Obviously, there's been a lot of change with the race at GP3R. We'll get back to our race here at Sunset Speedway. Obviously, if this were a real series, if there was that big of damage to the 80 and the 9, potentially they would not make the next race. As far as I'm concerned, we're not doing a hooligan race again. This is your set field once again for Sunset Race 2. Obviously, we'll have to see whether or not some of these guys would be able to continue, but that is it. Andrew Ranger picks up the victory. Gary Clute second. Alex Gannett third. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. It was this was a lot of fun, and we're definitely going to keep going with this. So keep it tuned to the Stickers and Scuffs channel, and we'll see some more of these racing coming up actually pretty soon.